Tell him, McCluskey. Tell him what time it is.
Little Hen says it's time to rock and roll.
All you people are so scared of me.
Come quietly or there will be trouble.
Man, that's just me.
I'm Batman.
This is Sparta!
There is a tiger in the bathroom.
I'm an excellent driver.
If it bleeds, we can kill it.
Pop quiz, hotshot.
Keep the change, you filthy animal.
Yes, my dear. I've been expecting you. Please, come in.
They call me Christian Grey. How do you like my blue room?
It's red.
Oh, I'm colorblind. My decorator assured me that... Never mind.
Hello and welcome to this week's Monday Movie Show. We're live on the 23rd of February 2015. That's if you're listening back in the podcast. I'm Stuart, and unfortunately there is no Andrew this week because he's not feeling very well. So I've got a guest co-host with me, and this will confuse a lot of people. Because, yeah, the co-host is also called Stuart, so...
It is. It's going to get a little bit confusing to me. What we generally do on the other show that we do, the horror one, is I tend to be Stuart and you end up being Stu. But I don't mind being called whatever, as long as it's polite and professional.
Yeah, it is. So joining me is Mr. Stuart Bannerman from Page 2 Screen. I hate saying that from, because it puts you off a little bit saying the proper name from Page 2 Screen.
I shall change the name. I don't know to what, but I shall get that sorted for you, Mr. Miller.
But thanks for joining us this week, because of the fact that, like I said, Andrew's not feeling very well, so I hope he gets well soon.
Yes, get well, Andy. Quickly.
Yeah, just a few little things before we tell the people the lineup and stuff like that. Just say a few things about From Page 2 Screen. What is it? Because we mention it every single week, and I doubt very many people know what From Page 2 Screen is. So what is From Page 2 Screen?
It's pretty much a brand name for everything I do. I publicise movies. I do 4 podcasts now, including one with yourself, The Horror Show. I write my stuff at FromPageToScreen.com. I'm a film extra. I'm an actor of sorts. So I'm a broadcaster, a photographer, and coming up later this year, Sci-Fi Wales, I'm going to be hosting a ton of panels. So pretty much I do everything, but it all comes under the banner From Page to Screen.
Lovely. I'm glad that we cleared that up. So every single time when you hear the show, you always hear an advert in between the cinema section and the home release section, and that is for, well, it was originally for From Page 2 Screen, that the standard ordinary show that you used to do. Now We've replaced that because we've finally updated the adverts with From Page 2 Screen, and we've got another ad which we alternate every single week. And I'm guessing a lot of people are wondering what the show is, considering that you've sort of like branched out a little bit more, haven't you? So
yes. And when that advert does get played, they'll hear your voice in that advert, of course.
Yeah, which it shocked Andy last week when he said, "Is that you in the clip there?" And I was like, "Yes, twice." Yep. So it's self-promoting me as well, which is brilliant.
Oh yes, definitely.
People can't get enough of me on this show.
No, you are so awesome that you have to be in an advert twice.
Yeah, I'm not everything is awesome, because unfortunately that didn't do very well at the Oscars, but we'll get onto that in the news section. So, yeah, well, we're here to actually look at films. Even though Andrew's not here, Stuart is going to help me. I'm going to be reviewing the films, and you're going to chip in every now and again with your thoughts and questions and things like that. If anybody's listening live and you want to give us any questions, just pop them in the live chat in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen, and we'll try and read them out during the show as well. But in the cinema section, we are looking at these films.
We are looking at Project Almanac, that Michael Bay produced, not directed, so you're safe. A Predestination. I always wanted to say pedestrian for some strange reason. With Ethan... Is that Ethan Hawke, that one, or what?
Yes.
Yeah, Ethan Hawke's in it. I saw him sitting in the Oscars yesterday. We're looking at a Jennifer Aniston film, Cake, the Michael Mann-directed Blackhat.
And in the home release section, we're looking at only 3 films this week, and they are...
We are Haunted. Is it Haunted House 2? I haven't even
Yes.
seen the first one. That's shocking. We're looking at a Conjuring spin-off sort of film. Annabelle and Brad Pitt, big tanks and bullets flying everywhere. Fury.
Yeah, and on top of that, we have the UK box office top 10, the Blu-ray and DVD top 10, and some movie news, which is very Oscar-ridden this week. Make sure you check out the website, mondaymovieshow.co.uk. And because Stuart is here, from pagetoscreen.com. Number 2. We normally mention that at the end of the show, but why not go and check out Stuart's website as well?
Yes,
He
please.
posts a lot more stuff on there than we do.
Thank you.
A lot. Trust me. All seems to go up on MondayMovieShow.co.uk is the box office top 10 and what's on the next show. We really do need to put more content on the site.
To be fair, your box office top 10 is very, very detailed, whereas a lot of my stuff is just more, snack size.
Yeah, well, it's handy to have it in both features, detailed and snack, because people always like a little morsel, but then people like a full course, so that they can go for yours as the starter and go to my website for the main course, and followingthenerd.com, might as well mention them now, as the dessert, so...
Wow. Do you think, Saxon and Co. will be happy to be known as dessert? They might quite like that, I think.
Yeah, I'm probably going to get shouted at on Thursday, but that's a whole different kettle of fish. You can also... you can also send us messages on Facebook, facebook.com/Monday Move Show, on Twitter, @Monday Move Show. We'll get all the other details at the end of the show regarding our own Twitter feeds and things like that. But let's kick things off with a few little bite-sized news pieces. During last week, and I hate it when this happens, it probably happens the same with you. When you do your show, have you noticed a big piece of news always breaks just after you finished recording?
Yes. All the time.
I hate that. I really do hate that. And in this case, it was Neil Blomkamp being confirmed as director of Alien 5, and Sigourney Weaver supposedly confirming that she wants to return as well. And also news, the fact that the film is going to be released after Prometheus 2, so we'll not see it until around about 2017.
See, I'm excited about that, because if you look at the stuff that Blomkamp's done, like Elysium, Chappie, District 9, that really has a look that an Alien film really needs to get back to. So I'm excited.
Yeah, same here. I'm a huge Neil Blomkamp fan, and if you've seen all of the art that he released and the treatment, the supposed treatment that he's done, he did it off his own back. It was sort of like fan service. The worst thing about fan service, though, is we got 50 Shades of Grey from fan service, so... It can sort of like go in the opposite direction, in the direction where we don't want it. But if you've seen the kind of stuff that Blomkamp has created with his vision of Alien 5, then you're probably glad that he's on board to direct it. And I am. I'm definitely glad. He's an intelligent director. So,
yeah, I don't think we're in any danger of getting 50 Shades of Xenomorph somehow. I think we'll be fine.
Yeah, that would be really disturbing, that. Ripley taking it a bit too far.
Exactly.
Don Mancini is planning a 7th and final Child's Play film.
What's your thoughts? Because I know you're a big Chucky fan.
Yeah, I've seen all 6. I've seen all 6 of the films, and I really like every single one of them. I think it's a series that's consistently good to watch. So even Child's Play 2 and 3, which the third one is a bit lacking, but it's still an entertaining film. But I love the Child's Play series.
Good.
So there's that. Terminator Genesis is going to get an IMAX release, and early indications are saying that the script is actually very good, surprisingly.
Wow. That is surprisingly.
That shocked me. That really did shock me. Wolf Creek is getting turned into a TV series.
What? How's that going to work?
Pass. It's going to be set after the second one, after Wolf Creek 2. Yeah, and it's still going to follow the character of Mick.
Yeah. Any news on whether we're going to get the same actor playing Mick?
Yes.
Nice. At least that's one thing.
But if I know TV has getting progressively nastier in the gore stakes over the last few years, but come on, turning something like Wolf Creek into a 6-part TV series.
Yeah, I mean, even HBO doesn't produce anything as nasty as the first Wolf Creek. And I haven't seen the second one yet, so can't testify.
It's even nastier.
Oh, right.
I know. Steven Spielberg may direct the next Indiana Jones film, he said, but he wants Chris Pratt to star.
Yeah, I'm still torn between that. I mean, Harrison Ford's obviously getting a bit too old to do it, but Harrison Ford is Indiana Jones in the same way he is Han Solo. So I'm still undecided whether I'd be happy with an Indiana Jones film with anybody other than Harrison.
Yeah, I think probably Chris Pratt could be one of the only people who could take his role, because he looks a little bit like a younger version of Harrison Ford. So I think he could actually take hold of the reins from Harrison Ford, but he's such a busy person at the moment, still shooting little bits and bobs to do with Jurassic World, and then he's got loads of other projects going on, so I don't know if he'll have the time to do something as big as Indiana Jones. But Sigourney Weaver as well. She's stupidly busy.
She is, with Avatar 2, 3, 4, and so on.
Yeah, and the final little bite-sized news piece is Mission Impossible 5's ending has had to be rewritten. Christopher McQuarrie, the director, he's rewritten the ending, even though the film is due out in July, and it's still in production.
Do you think that will hit its July date? Because originally it was supposed to be out, was it November, December, and then they pushed it forward? Do you think they might end up pushing it back again?
It was a stupid idea to do that in the first place. To move it forward to July. We know that one of the main reasons why they moved it from December to July is so it doesn't clash with the latest Star Wars movie. And it's sort of like understandable, but that when the Mission Impossible films get released, they get released on Boxing Day. So it's sort of like fine, but moving it forward 6 months while it's still in pre-production, it's not given very much time for the film to be properly edited together and stuff like that, is it?
It's
and
not.
the ending having to be rewritten?
That's disturbing. I mean, they were showing super confidence in the film by moving it forward to July, but it is a bit of a shock to find out they've not even finished it yet.
Yeah, which is just... We'll see. We'll see when the film comes out, if it is in a decent enough state. So, yeah. Oscars. The Oscars.
Yes.
Happened last night, which was the 87th?
7th. Yes.
I don't watch the ceremony because it's way too long, but you have.
I did. I watched it this very afternoon. I loved it. I know I was talking to Fraser, the Cops and Monsters director, and he wasn't a fan of Neil Patrick Harris as host. I thought he was really, really funny, though. A few of his jokes misfired, but I really enjoyed the ceremony. Some of it's long-winded, some of the speeches you could do without, but all in all, it was pretty good. The one thing that always sticks with me is the in memoriam sequence, and I still can't get over seeing Robin Williams' face in any of these in memoriam things. It still feels weird that the world has no Robin Williams.
And yeah, that is really sad to see. So it is a bit of an... I don't like that bit in any award ceremony when they do the in memoriam stuff. I know it's sort of like an essential part of it now, but it is still... It's sort of like... It dilates the tone of the ceremonies.
It does, but I mean, from a viewer, I've been watching the Oscars, the full ceremony every year for a couple of decades or whatever, and it's the one part of the ceremony I always sit down and properly watch. And it's not a nice part to watch, but I just find it as a respectful thing, really.
Yeah, it just feels really weird in a show that's awarding the best of the year to be doing a shout out to people who have died. It just seems it's a bit strange, but that's not what the Oscars is about, is it? It's about winning. It's about films succeeding, about directors lording it over other directors. It's about actors getting up on the stage and saying, I'm better than you, haha, even though they won't actually do that.
It's a bit, I mean, it hit me today when I was watching it. It's a bit like watching the stuff on the Hunger Games. Do you know when they're all like, when Stanley Tucci's there and everybody's in the audience, I'm like, this is kind of like the Academy Awards.
Yeah, so it is just about lauding their excellence over everything else, even though a lot of the speeches this year, from what I heard, was all about... It was just very strange, wasn't it?
Some of them were. I think the weirdest one to me is the guy who won, I can't remember which category he won, but he said, this is for everybody who's tried to kill themselves. I tried to kill myself when I was 16, and thankfully I didn't do it. So here's to everybody that's thinking about doing it. Don't do it, because you might be here one day. And I'm like, that is probably the weirdest speech I've ever heard.
And it was for a British director, or I remember reading about that, and it's something British related.
Yes.
It's very, very, very weird. However... On the night, you had the usual categories, and I think the Oscars has too many categories, to be honest. Way too many. Because I've got, I printed out the nominations this year, and I think both me and you do exactly the same thing. We choose our winners, who we think is going to win, and sort of like play a little game. We normally record a podcast, but this year we didn't do it. Just thinking who might win the Oscars and then see how many we get. So it's always that entertaining. It's like Oscars bingo. You know,
it is. There were 24 categories, by the way, this year,
which is annoying. It's not as bad as I think the Grammys has more.
Yeah.
Oh, I know there is. I think the Golden Globes might have more as well, because they have Best Actor in a Comedy Series and Best Actor in a Drama or something like that. So it's even worse.
Yep.
But this year, Best Picture.
Birdman.
Yeah.
Yep. I saw somebody on Facebook saying, "Wow, it's not often that a comedy wins best thing," and I'm like, "Really? I mean, there were funny bits in that film, but I wouldn't have classed it as a comedy. To me, it's more a drama."
It was sort of like a satire. It's a satire on actors, that film, and so it is a bit strange. But what I find interesting is, I would say the top two films, Birdman and Boyhood, because Boyhood was the favourite, but Birdman beat it. Independent films.
Yes.
So it's the independent one, and I remember reading a stat somewhere that the highest grossing film out of that list there was American Sniper. It's the only film out of that list there which took more than 100 million, and it was also the highest budgeted film out of that lot there as well.
There was, I think, in the open, whoever was introducing the nominees on the thing said that out of all the best pictures films, they've grossed in total something like 500 million, and 300 million of that was due to American Sniper. So that just shows you what that's doing.
Yeah, considering that if you look back at previous years, you had like things like Lord of the Rings. So Lord of the Rings is not done on a tiny little budget, it's done on a stupendously huge budget, and it took that back tenfold. So it's sort of like it's a rare year to have when you've got the 8 films this year instead of 10, because the maximum they can have is 10. Last year it was 9. They're taking 2/3 of it is from one film.
Yep. And it's the one film out of the nominees that I wouldn't have actually put in that category, but that's just me.
Yeah, same here. Best Director went to Alejandro Gonzalez Iñárritu for Birdman as well.
Yes.
And before the start of the show, we were speaking, and I think he didn't deserve it, in my opinion. I think that should have went to Richard Linklater.
Yeah, see, I can see both. I mean, I think Birdman, I'm not even going to try and pronounce his name, so I think he did a really good job, because you said it is all down to cinematography. However, it's generally not the cinematographer that's like, this is the shots I'm going to do. It's usually a director that's like works with him that will then come up with the thing. But I would have been happy with either one of them winning, to be honest.
But cinematographer was Birdman as well, and I just think that the way Birdman is situated, the way Birdman is set, it's not a director kind of film. It's all about letting the actors speak for themselves, because a lot of the script is improvised and they're allowed to go mad with their roles that they've got. So a director doesn't have very much control over how the lines are getting spoke, how they should be saying it. He's just going, you've got carte blanche, show me what you've got. And so I think it's a bit of an easy movie to do that, and to celebrate a director who does that is a bit of a cop-out, in my opinion, considering that in the category you've got Richard Linklater, Bennett Miller, Wes Anderson and Morton Tyldum. And each one of those films, Boyhood, Foxcatcher, The Grand Budapest Hotel and The Imitation Game, they are properly structured films where a director has to have their full-on say about the film. So they are properly directed, they have a proper direction. Whereas I think Birdman, Alejandro Gonzalez Iñárritu, I don't think he should have won that, in my opinion.
Oh no. This could be a long debate, I think. I think Birdman didn't deserve Best Picture. Well, not didn't deserve, but I would rather Boyhood have got Best Picture.
Yeah, actor was Eddie Redmayne.
Yes, I wanted Michael Keaton to get it. I'm like, come on, Michael, I want to see him up there on the stage, but Eddie Redmayne got it. So
yeah, I had Eddie Redmayne down, to be honest, and I thought he would definitely do it. No, Andrew's joined us in the live chat. This is going to be really rare for him. It's going to be really difficult because he's joined us in the live chat and he's normally on the show. So it's just, yeah.
He's going to be well freaked out because I'm not even reading the live chat. I've got like your website up with other stuff, so he can type to his heart's content. Andy, I can't see what you're ranting at, pal.
Yeah, you can call him horrible names.
Yeah.
Best actress, Julianne Moore for Still Alice.
So happy about that. She's awesome.
Yeah, Still Alice hasn't been released over here yet. It's out next week, I think. So I haven't seen the film yet. We'll see if she definitely deserves it. But I actually went with Julianne Moore as a guess.
Yes, so me too.
I just think that she was the strongest one out of that lot there. Andrew, by the way, he went with Keaton. He wanted Keaton to win in the Best Actor category.
Me too.
We'll quickly go through some of the other ones. Supporting actor, J.K. Simmons. I think that was a given.
Oh, I'm so happy to. I've been a fan of J.K. since he was in Oz. It was an amazing role. Very similar to the character he plays in Whiplash, I might
add. Best supporting actress went to Patricia Arquette for Boyhood. Again, I predicted that. Definitely deserved it.
I can't remember who I'd picked, but I didn't pick her. I think I picked Keira Knightley if she was nominated in that one.
I don't think she deserved it, to be honest. It's a very underwritten role, that Keira Knightley's role in The Imitation Game.
Damn.
So, I think Patricia Arquette definitely deserved that. Skip over things like adapted screenplay, which went to The Imitation Game, original screenplay, which went to Birdman. The one that annoyed me, and I think annoyed a lot of people, because the fact that it didn't feature the Lego Movie, was Best Animated Feature. Now,
that's because the Lego Movie is not awesome. It's overhyped.
It did feature a couple of films which definitely deserved its place in there. But the one film I've not seen is Song of the Sea. I've not seen it, and I've not heard of it, to be honest. Obviously, slightly biased with the fact that The Tale of Princess Kaguya is in there, with it being a Studio Ghibli film. That's got a release date of March the 23rd in this country, and I'm so glad it was in there, considering that it is one of their last films, and it is Hayao Miyazaki's final film for the studio. But it was Big Hero 6 which won it.
Yeah, what were your thoughts on that? Were you quite happy that won it? Do you think it is a really, really well animated film or not?
It is, but I actually went with How to Train Your Dragon 2. Because
so
out of the 5 there, I ruled The Tale of Princess Kaguya because that was my heart speaking. I went with my head, and I went with How to Train Your Dragon 2 because it's such a fantastic film that I was really shocked that I didn't win it.
It might also be worth pointing out in the Oscar ceremony the fact that there's a film called How to Train Your Dragon 2. I think it was Neil Patrick Harris that said, doesn't that mean that in the first film he wasn't able to train his dragon? The fact that they've had to come back with another film. So, think
and that
on
shows you that he's not seen it then.
Yes.
Best foreign language film went to Ida. I went for Leviathan because Leviathan definitely deserved it. That's out on DVD next week. It's a fantastic film, Leviathan.
Yep.
So I'm guessing you saw none of those films in the best foreign language film.
I didn't, but I did get that one right. I guessed Ida as well.
Yeah,
not as well because you didn't get it.
Production design went to Grand Budapest. Cinematography went to Birdman. Costume design, Grand Budapest. Documentary went to Citizen 4. Leave out documentary. Short editing went to Whiplash. Definitely deserves it. Brilliantly edited film. Makeup went to the Grand Budapest. Original score went to Alexandre Desplat for the Grand Budapest. Original song. Oh God, original song. It went to Glory from Selma instead of Everything is Awesome from the Lego Movie. Now, I hated Everything is Awesome, but I was so glad that the Lego Movie was nominated for something that I wanted it to win it just because the Lego Movie was nominated, even though I hated the song. The song is annoying.
I watched that section obviously because I watched the whole ceremony, and I forget what the film's from. It's from a documentary, I think, and it's Glenn Campbell, the very, very famous composer. He has been diagnosed with Alzheimer's, and he wrote a final song for his wife, and that was the song that they played. It was called "I'm Not Gonna Miss You." And listening to the lyrics, you're like, I'm just going to burst into tears here. It's horrific. So I would kind of wanted that one to win, but it didn't. But yeah. That was quite depressing to listen to.
Yeah, it's normally that kind of thing is Oscar bait, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's just the Oscar. It makes the Oscar judges just cry like little babies, and so and the rest is just you can catch the full list on mondaymoovieshow.co.uk or on frompagetoscreen.com as well.
You can. You can see my guesses on there as well because I've left my guesses. I got 10 right. How many did you get? Go on, rub my face in it.
I got 12.
There you go.
But that's lower than last year, considering. But I think, to be honest, even though I know that you're not a huge fan of his, but go and check out Mark Kermode's blog on YouTube, because he does the Kermodes, which celebrates the alternate to the Oscars. People who were nominated in the Kermodes cannot be nominated in that category if they're nominated in the Oscars. So, say for instance, Rosamund Pike was nominated in Best Actress, so she can't be nominated in Best Actress in the Kermodes as well. And I think he got a better selection of films in the Kermodes than the Oscars did, just because the Babadook won a couple.
Yeah,
including Best Film.
Me.
So yeah, we know what you think about the Babadook, but The UK box office top 10 then.
Yes, here we go now. I want to find out what you think of a lot of these films. Well, number 10, we have Paddington still in there. That film's been in there since the beginning of time, I think.
Yeah, it snuck back in there because the children are off on holiday. They were off on holiday. They're now back at school, but it just snuck in there because of that. Have you seen Paddington?
I haven't. Nope. I've only seen. I've never seen one of the top 10. So.
Yeah, well, that's a shame. Paddington is definitely needs to be watched. It's such a fun, entertaining film, so I definitely think you should see Paddington.
At number 9, we have Selma, a film which I've heard quite a bit about today in the Oscars.
Yeah, I think me and Andrew agree on this, the fact that it feels more like a TV movie rather than a film that needs to be seen on the big screen. It's really good. It's brilliantly acted by David Oyelowo. I've got to finish off Andrew's thing there when he mentions his name because he can't pronounce his name. But I have a way of pronouncing dodgy names. But yeah, it's brilliantly acted by Oyelowo. But I think the problem I have is I would like to see a film about slavery now done from the British standpoint of view rather than the American standpoint of view, because I think we've seen too many of them.
Agreed. At number 8, we have the Stephen Hawking biopic starring Oscar-winning Eddie Redmayne, Theory of Everything.
Yeah, I watched an interview with him this morning, saying that now you're going to be referred to in every single film that you're in as Oscar winner. Eddie Redmayne, and my guess is apart from one of the films that is coming up in the top 10.
Yeah. At number 7, we have American Sniper.
Yeah, have you seen American Sniper? I don't think you have.
I have seen it at the top 10. Really, really good film. Not sure I would have put it in the Best Picture nominations, but I still very much enjoyed American Sniper. What did you think, Stu?
The sniper part of the film's better than the American part. The American part is really weak. The sniper part is very well handled, very tense. It's just, I don't think Clint Eastwood wrote the American part properly. When you see somebody coming back from the turmoils of war in Iraq, it's going to hit them really hard. And I just think it was a very underwritten character, and it felt like a different character in the American section of it. Plus, the original ending of the film as well. He wanted to write it where Chris Kyle, who the film is about, gets killed in a car park. And I think it was a good idea to leave that out, considering that the trial is still ongoing about the death of Chris Kyle, because he was killed. And so the trial is still ongoing with that. And so I think it was probably a brave idea to write that bit out of it, to change the ending.
So. And just end it on a text credit. And then it comes up on the screen. So.
Yeah, but I think Clint Eastwood needs to concentrate on his films a little bit more and even them out a bit more. If you're going to make one section of a film really good, you need to make sure that the other part of the movie also suits the other section. So it was lacking the American part.
And a film which I'm sure Andy's seen this several times. Number 6, Peppa Pig, The Golden Boots.
Yeah, all I know about it is it's on for 60 minutes, and only 15 minutes of that 60 minutes is new material. The rest is episodes that have already been shown on Channel 5, and it also has the hosts of the show that they do, the early morning children's show that they do on Channel 5, hosting it as well. So I hope that cinemas are charging much less for the price of tickets for this, because if they're still charging full price, that is ridiculous for something that's been seen already before with only 15 minutes of new footage.
His parents are going to be mad. They pay about £7 to watch that one.
Yeah.
Ugh. Shifting on to number 5, co-starring the Oscar-winning Eddie Redmayne. The Wachowskis are back. Jupiter Ascending.
Yeah, as a person who speaks really, really quiet and then every now and again just assert his authority, he really speaks loudly! So, yeah, no. When you've got a movie, I've said this, but I always love to mention it over and over again because I think it's ridiculous. But when you've got a film which includes Sean Bean, who doesn't die in it, surprisingly.
What?
Yes, that's not a spoiler, but he doesn't die in it. But Sean Bean plays a bee-human hybrid. And Channing Tatum plays a dog-human hybrid. And Mila Kunis, all she can do is fall during the film, with Channing Tatum with no shirt on, catching her all the time, and finding out she is the reincarnation of a person who ruled the galaxy and the universes, treat Earth like a little snooker ball on a huge massive pool table, and they were responsible for the death of the dinosaurs, then you know that the Wachowskis were smoking something really strange.
So I'm gathering this is probably not going to end up in your top 10 of the year. Just call me psychic.
Yeah, it's not in the bottom 10 of the year because it's not that bad. It is a pretty bad film. It makes no sense and it's boring. Andrew thought it was actually quite entertaining, but it is such a boring film. It doesn't register in my bottom 10 of the year, so it'll not make it that.
Whoops. What about number 4, Kingsman: The Secret Service, the Matthew Vaughn directed film?
Yeah, it's a good film. It just has problems with the middle section of it, the way it's written, its female characters, and I don't have a problem with the end, the last little joke in the film. It's very misogynistic, but it's got its tongue in its cheek slightly. That's not a pun there, by the way. I can see why it's harking back to the old Bond films in it, because that's the way the Bond movies ended off. They ended off with like a sarcastic sexual innuendo. I just think that the director sort of like took the innuendo and went a bit too far and didn't make it an innuendo, just made it very straight-laced.
Blonde, yeah. How about number 3, Shaun the Sheep, the movie? What's your thoughts on Shaun the Sheep?
I really liked it, surprisingly. It's a silent film, apart from the music that's played. But I'm quite a big fan of silent movies. I don't have a problem. I love The Artist. The Artist is one of my favourite films of all time. The Michel Hazanavicius directed film, which won our film of the year back in 2011, and it won the Oscar that year as well. So it's a brilliant film, and I Shaun the Sheep is such an entertaining film. It lasts 88 minutes perfectly.
Cool. Big Hero 6, Oscar-winning movie. Big Hero 6 by Disney, I believe, at number 2.
Yeah, I didn't like the way the film ended. The last 15 minutes of it, it turned into a Marvel film, not a Disney film, and so it was all about superheroes. But the character of Baymax is brilliant. When you've got a character who sounds really drunk when his energy is really low, and then he says the line, "hairy baby," while stroking a cat, then you've got to love a character who does that. You need to see that clip on YouTube. Just go to YouTube, search for the clip where you see Baymax drunk, and then he just stroke a cat and goes, "hairy baby." It has me in kinks.
And riding on the top of the charts, coming first as always, 50 Shades of Grey.
That was too many innuendos in that lot there.
Innuendos? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, 50 Shades of Grey. It's not as bad as a lot of people make it out to be, because I've seen 50 Shades of Grey as well. And the drop-off in America was huge. 73% drop-off.
Yep.
Which is a massive drop-off. But the film itself, like I said, is not as bad. It's just so clunkily written. It's so badly acted as well, that it's sort of like more like a comedy. Like a carry-on film, not a serious movie.
I think a lot of that's to do with the fact that they've given E.L. James creative control over it, which is causing no end of chaos for the other 2 films in the trilogy.
Yeah, it should have just been left to the writer of Saving Mr. Banks, because that was the writer who they got in the first place to write the screenplay for it. Should have just been left to that, and would have made a much more, probably slightly better coherent film. It might have gotten up there maybe with Basic Instinct, possibly, for the creepiness when it comes to the sexualness of the film, or the BDSM. It'll never get to the heights of movies like Secretary, because I think that's probably one of the best films in that category. It's brilliantly acted and brilliantly told, because Maggie Gyllenhaal and James Spader are just two brilliant actors. So you were never going to get that kind of quality. But it definitely doesn't deserve rants and worst film of the year nods. But it doesn't deserve anything better than it being.
So I'll be interested to see if it comes in the bottom top 10 of your films of the year. Anyway, hopefully not.
Yeah, and on that note, I think we should leave that alone, because the puns are starting to get really bad now.
I've no idea what you're talking about. What puns?
Yeah, I think we should actually jump to the first review of this week's show. We're going to keep things a bit more streamlined. I'm just going to go over the plots very quickly, and then we'll just get on with the reviews of the film. So the first one up is Project Almanac. It's directed by Dean Israelite. It stars Johnny Weston, Sophia Black, Ella, Sam Lerner. It's very unknown actors and actresses. It's produced by Michael Bay. It's
Do
got
you not find, though, with anything that's got Michael Bay's name attached, it always becomes like, oh, that's a Michael Bay one, isn't it? People forget about the director's name, and it's just they attach themselves to whoever's the biggest name is in it.
Yeah, that's what happened with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, to be honest, and people were forgetting it was Jonathan Liebesman who directed that and not Michael Bay. So it's just because Michael Bay's name on it is because they think, oh, we're going to get more people on the seats if people know that it's Michael Bay involved. But I think yeah, exactly, get less. But in the case of Project Almanac, it's got a quite simple, basic storyline. Just centres on a group of friends at school. One of them, while he's watching a video of one of his birthdays, he discovers himself in the video. And I'll play a clip in a second about that, but I'll just set up the rest of the story. And he's wondering, why is he in the video? His friends don't believe him on that front. And they're wondering, what is going on? Then all of a sudden they hear a noise coming from the cellar, and they go to investigate that. And this is a huge, massive lab which was run by his father. And upon investigating that, they discover this machine, and they discover this blueprints for a machine to be able to take them back in time. And obviously them having a lot of fun with it. And the stupid idea what they have is to put this machine inside of an Xbox. Product placement majorly in this front. I think Michael Bay loves Xboxes because he included a transforming Xbox in one of the Transformers films. So they decided to put in that so they can go back in time. At first they can only go back a couple of hours, and then they tried to push the luck more and more and more by going back in time by days and a few weeks, ultimately going to things like winning the lottery, going to concerts. However, things start to get a bit weird when they start crossing paths and things like that. Sort of like the timey-wimey, wibbly-wobbly kind of stuff that you normally see in a Doctor Who episode. Here's a clip.
There's this footage of me at my 7th birthday. I mean, I was at my 7th birthday.
We were all at your 7th birthday.
No, I know. Here. Just, you don't understand. Just watch this.
I still think it's just a glitch in the camera.
Look.
Oh!
All right, so right.
Wow!
Right as this lady
Oh my
walks
god,
by.
I remember that.
No. Right as this lady walks by, look in the mirror. Right there. Did you guys just see that?
Dude, I
You
was
guys see
so
that?
freaking cute. Please.
Dude, I was cute.
Adam fell off that freaking bike, and it was the funniest thing I'd ever seen.
Do I exist in the world? Are you guys even seeing me right now? Please, look at this.
Dude, you're crazy.
Chris.
Ready, go. Play it. I'm ready.
Birthday! Happy birthday!
Right there. In the mirror. Look in the mirror.
Dude, is that? That can't be.
That's me.
So, like I said, that sets up the scene where he discovers himself in the video footage that he finds from the camera. Now, the thing with Project Almanac is it's probably one of these movies where you saw the trailer and think to yourself, yeah, this has got Beer's grubby little mitts all over it. It's going to be mildly entertaining, probably. It's going to lose its way in the last third. It might be entertaining slightly, etc., etc. And that's how it sums up Project Almanac, unfortunately. It's entertaining for what it is. It's just, again, in the last third, it gets itself muddled up so badly because it is involving time travel and people going back in time. As a matter of fact, we're going to look at another film which involves time travel, which handles it much better in Predestination a little bit later on. But it just gets muddled up with its plot points and the fact that when it gets to areas where it starts to become overly complex, the director loses his way. He doesn't know how to handle it. He doesn't know how to tie the story together. And he starts to maybe add too many more story elements into it to try and make it... People sort of like get confused and thinking to themselves, I'll forgive him for this little strand here. Let's concentrate on this new little strand which he can easily fix. So it's just muddled up in the last third, but the first 2/3 is fine. It's another one of those fine for what it is movies.
Worth watching on the big screen or wait for it on Blu-ray or DVD, do you think?
That's the thing that you can give Bay quality for. All of his films always have a big screen feel to them. You can never say that, even if you hate his films, you can never say that Michael Bay's films suit the small screen, apart from Pain and Gain, which suits the rubbish dump.
I love Pain and Gain.
That movie is beyond atrocious. It's really horrible. I think, in my opinion, Pain and Gain is Michael Bay's worst film. Full stop.
I'd say Transformers 3 would probably get
I
my...
hate Transformers 3, but Transformers 3 is his second worst film. It was his worst film, in my opinion, until he did Pain and Gain. And I think Pain and Gain is such a really badly made film that it is his worst one, by far.
Okay.
But Project Almanac, like I said, it's worth it for what it is. It's definitely worth seeing on the big screen. It has Beer's qualities there, but it's just, you'll forget about it. And just, a film should not be like that. It should not be a film that you forget about. Even if it's bad, you'll always remember it. But even if it's good, you'll definitely remember it. So if a film is always down the middle, very straight, just like straight down the middle, you always seem to forget them more because you just think to yourself, and then you don't realise you've seen the movie. And so when 10 months down the line, or when it does get released on Netflix, you go to yourself, have I seen that film? When you land on it and you start watching it, and that's when you realise you have seen it. And yep. I personally think that those are the worst kind of films, in my opinion.
They are. It's like the worst thing you could say to a filmmaker is, yeah, that was all right. They get very annoyed.
It is definitely the worst thing you can say to a filmmaker. Your film was all right.
It's all right.
Yeah. Right, next up, Blackhat. Directed by Michael Mann, the director who was definitely more known for his thrillers. He's well known for his thrillers. He revels in that kind of genre. And what he's done with Blackhat is he's took sort of like the cyber element of thrillers and mixed it in. This is one of his first films where he's attempting to do that. He's come up to the digital age. And so in this film here, he's got Chris Hemsworth, who plays the lead character of Nick Hathaway. He's a talented hacker. However, he finds himself in jail. He's got a 15-year prison sentence, but he's coming to the end of his prison sentence. But he's so notorious that people are sort of like a bit wary of him. However, when a terrorist attack happens at a China factory, the government needs his help. He's one of the only people who can help them out, and so it leads to a cat and mouse chase when they're trying to track down these people who were involved in this China heist, and they need to try and stop them. But ultimately, he discovers that the person who's involved could have ties to his past and his involvement with him getting sent down for his 15 years prison sentence. Here's a clip.
Okay, so how's it work? You give NSA the data, they run it, what?
No, they have a remote login, we run it. You're not thinking.
Come on, they got the keys to the kingdom. Our guy's address, maybe. Whatever he's cooking up next is right in there. Only we can't read it.
Let's go. My old correspondence with Donahue is here. But there's no way that login is still active.
I'm not going to use that login. Okay, Donahue, the NSA contact you was talking.
If NSA discovers the intrusion, you sure you want to do this?
FBI can't explain after the fact?
You locate this guy, you're okay. You get discovered, you're dead meat. You know that, don't you?
And so that's pretty much the main plot of Blackhat. It's one of those films where it's sort of like the less you know about the storyline, the better the film is when it gets to these set pieces and it unravels the storyline. The problem, though, with Blackhat is Michael Mann just hasn't a clue how to direct it. He doesn't know how the movie should flow, because Chris Hemsworth just seems uneasy with his character. He's got the jargon down and the understanding of how to hack a computer, but as a matter of fact, I think Sandra Bullock has it better in The Net.
Yay! I love that film.
Than she does than Chris Hemsworth does in Blackhat, because when you watch the film and you see him hacking into computers and stuff like that, he's just tapping away at the keyboard and having a clue what the hell he's doing. So it just feels very disconnected with the film, and Mann realises this, and so he decides to throw in some action set pieces just to sort of like the stagnant parts of the film, just to liven them up a little bit. And there's about 3 set pieces in the film, and they're very mundane. They're very similar to what you see in the Bourne movies, or movies that have done this like espionage kind of thing before. This hacking espionage thing before, and it's better handled in that one. And Michael Mann, like I said, he used to be a director who used to make very gritty, very sort of like dark thrillers, and he's lost his way. He thinks that he's still got the talent to do that, and unfortunately with Blackhat, it's a big, massive sidestep, and it's a bit of a damp squib for Michael Mann.
Well, I hope this is a blip in his radar, because you mentioned Michael Mann. He's done loads of gritty thrillers, things like Heat, Collateral. I even really enjoyed the Miami Vice remake because he was involved in the original series. Even Last of the Mohicans, which I think is one of his weaker films, I still love that. So I'm hoping that Michael Mann gets back on track, and I'll end up watching Blackhat when it hits DVD.
Yeah, that was my question there. Do you have any intention of seeing this? Is it just down to the fact that it's got Michael Mann's name attached to it that you think to yourself, oh, well, I've got to see it because I do like his previous films?
Purely, yep. If anybody else had directed it, I would probably just wait for it to be on TV. But because it's Michael Mann and he's not really let me down so far, I will give it a go when it hits DVD.
See, that's the thing when you watch TV now, because TV has sort of like become bite-sized films. The way the production values are on episodes of programs used to be that production values used to be less than £100,000 or whatever, but now episodes of TV programs like Game of Thrones are in the millions.
Yep, 6 million for a Game of Thrones episode. 6 million,
which is ridiculous. But that makes its money back in just waves and waves and waves. So it's understandable, and the kind of thing that you see in Blackhat can be done much better in a TV series. So I have not seen The Blacklist. I don't know if that TV series is any good. But from what I can gather of the adverts and trailers that I see of Blackhat on TV, it seems to be Jim Spader, which we both had a little conversation before the show started of how brilliant of an actor he is. He's in The Blacklist, isn't he? I don't know if you've seen The Blacklist.
I've not seen it, but I've heard so many rave reviews about that show that as soon as I get my hands on it, I'll run it.
Yeah, so I need to see it as well, but it seems to be that things like The Blacklist is very similar in tone to stuff like Blackhat. And you think to yourself, why is this getting a theatrical release? Is it just down to Michael Mann? And
I think it's probably down to Chris Hemsworth, he of Thor, and obviously Michael Mann.
Yeah, you can't even these days. You can't even say it could be down to the director, because you've got big, huge, massive directors now directing TV series.
You have David Fincher doing House of Cards. Say no more.
So it's just Juan Antonio Bayona, one of my favorite directors, doing TV programs in Penny Dreadful. So it's just Guillermo del Toro in The Strain. He directed a couple of episodes of The Strain.
Neil Marshall doing Game of Thrones. If that's a reason you need to go and watch Game of Thrones, Neil Marshall.
So it's just... I still scratch my head on why things like this get a theatrical release. It sort of like leads perfectly into the next film, which is Cake, which it's directed by Daniel Barnes and it stars Jennifer Aniston, who plays Claire Bennett. And this was one of these movies where they were expecting Jennifer Aniston to be getting a nod in the Oscars, because it is sort of like one of these Oscar-baited kind of films. And it centers around, like I said, Claire Bennett, who she is... I want to use the B word, but I'm not going to. She's an itch with a big, huge, massive B. So she is one of these characters, sort of like understandable, considering that she has got major problems with her back. It's down to the fact that she did lose her son. You find this out during the film. And so she takes a lot of medication. She's really horrible to people. During the classes where she's trying to get some feelings back into her back and more movement, etc., she's horrible to the physiotherapist in that one. She gets put into a group of people who... because she's very suicidal as well, and so she's sort of like being put in this suicidal group, and she's horrible to them. Ultimately, she gets kicked out of both groups. And so she's... the only person who she's really nice to is her maid, who comes in to help her. However, she meets up with this man who's played by Sam Worthington, who I didn't know was in the movie until he actually appeared in the film itself, who plays Roy, who's the father and the husband of a girl who's also called Claire, who was a part of Claire's group, who committed suicide, and she wants to track her down to see why she actually did it. And so Roy is Claire's husband, and Claire, who's played by Jennifer Aniston, annoying. This is the Stuart thing here. Claire, she sort of like starts a friendship and ultimately relationship with Roy, and sort of like starts to see her ways, tries to not be the itch with the capital B. Here's a clip.
Silvana?
Yes?
Savannah, you have this habit of letting everyone into the house.
But he's a friend, no? And I think you get angry, but...
Why? What?
But, I invite him and his boy for lunch the day after tomorrow.
What?
I make tamales. You love my tamales, no?
I don't care. I don't give a shit. What? That's not the point. Oh, Jesus Christ. Oh. Well, what did he say?
He said yes.
Good. Good.
So yeah, that clip there gives you an indication of what a character's like, and again, this is sort of like the problem like me and Andrew had with the movies of last year. A lot of these films were trying their best to become this movie which is going, yes, pick me to be an Oscar movie. Come on, pick me. I'm the kind of movie where I'm ticking all the boxes for you. I have this downbeat character in the movie who sees her ways and mends her ways by the end of the film, and so we have an upbeat ending to the movie and blah-de-blah-de-blah, and it tries too hard. It just tries too hard, and Jennifer Aniston is fine. She's really annoying in the film, but she's fine as the character of Claire. But it's just down to the fact that there isn't very much else attaching you to the movie. If you take her out of the film, you've got a very nothing movie. It all just centres and all hinges on Jennifer Aniston's performance. And like I said, she's fine. It's just that her character is very repetitive because she's so downbeat throughout the movie. She just has no will of anybody changing her. And when that does happen, it's just you're thinking to yourself, the director is just manipulating us here. To go from a character who we didn't like to a character who we have to like, yeah, pull the other one. And Jennifer Aniston, like I said, she handles it fine. But again, it's one of those movies where it's just okay. It suits the small screen more so than the big screen.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the poster and it is just Jennifer Aniston's head. So it pretty much, as you said, it centres upon her performance.
Yeah, it does because the film itself, when Claire, because she starts to see visions of the other Claire, and she's played by Anna Kendrick. And so when she starts to seeing that, it's sort of like, it's a bit, yeah, fine, okay, then we know what's going to happen. You can predict what's going to happen. It's easily predictable. Unlike the last film, the last cinema release of the week, Predestination. It's directed by the Spearig brothers, who did Daybreakers. The vampire film, Daybreakers. They're an Australian duo. Fantastic film. I really like Daybreakers. The uncut version, not the cut version. The cinema version's a 15 and it's cut. The uncut version is a much better film. Normally the case, isn't it?
Is the uncut one an 18 or is that still a 15? Right, so 18. I shall look out for the 18 one then.
Yeah, and now to try and describe the script, the plot, of Predestination is a nightmare in itself, and it gives away too much of the storyline. So basically, it centres around Ethan Hawke's character, who's just known as the Barkeep. He is an agent, a temporal agent in the future, who's sent back in time to try and track down this serial killer because he is about to finish his stint as a temporal agent. And he needs to track down this serial killer so he can stop him. And now he ends up going back in time, meets up with this character who's played by Sarah Snook in a bar, who's just known as the unmarried mother, and learns about her story. And so here's a clip setting that up.
What if I could put him in front of you? Huh? The man that ruined your life. And if I could guarantee you that you'd get away with it, would you kill him?
In a heartbeat.
I know where he is.
Yeah, of course you do.
No.
How the hell do you know that?
There are records. Hospital records, orphanage records, medical records.
Been there, done that.
Beth Featheridge. Isn't that the name of your caretaker at the orphanage? Beth?
And so you learn the tragic story, or you learn the story of the unmarried mother, and you also learn bits and bobs to do with the barkeep, and then the story gets much more stranger and twistier and weirder, and then there's loads of strands. And like I said, with the Project Almanac, the director hadn't a clue how to tie up these strands. With Predestination, the Spearig brothers definitely do. It's like they've got a big, huge, massive chart on the wall, and they've got everything mapped out, and they're going, we're going to take the viewer down this twisty, turny road, and at the end, they're going to be pleasantly surprised with the ending. And I definitely was. I really liked Predestination because it is a thinker of a movie, but it also has some really nice, touching moments in it. It's got some really nice nuances in it. It's got some brilliant acting from both Ethan Hawke and Sarah Snook in the film as well, and so I think it's expertly handled by the Spearig brothers. It's a science fiction film that's intelligent, and it's not scared to be intelligent. And a lot of science fiction films sort of like back away from it when it starts to become too intelligent. There's only a few little movies. If you look at Inception, Christopher Nolan, how he handled Inception, that could have been a muddled mess of a movie. But because
what about 12 Monkeys? Would you put that in a similar type thing?
12 Monkeys, I would agree with that as well. Looper is a movie that could have just been a mess, but it's handled so well. And the Spearig brothers handled Predestination like those films. So if you liked films like 12 Monkeys, Looper, Inception, stuff like that, then you would really like Predestination, because I really did enjoy it.
Nice. That's definitely my type of sci-fi film. So I'm going to put that on my list.
Yeah, it definitely, please put it on the list. Rob, who's just joined us in the live chat there, he says, sorry he's late. It's fine. You're okay. Normally the show would go off at 8:30, and so we're just early rather than you being late. And he said he really enjoyed Predestination. So it's definitely worth a viewing. The problem is its distribution in the UK. Empire Cinemas are the ones who've got the exclusive rights to it. And Empire Cinemas only have 16 cinemas across the UK. Renovate 16 cinemas. They have some of the biggest cinemas across the UK. They don't have any small little cinemas. All of their cinemas are 12 screens plus. But they have the exclusive rights to it, the theatrical rights to it, and they're not showing it on very many screens thanks to 50 Shades of Grey. So you're probably going to have to watch it on digital download, as Andy has just pointed in the live chat there. It's available on iTunes, or when it comes out on Blu-ray and DVD, which my guess is in a couple of weeks' time. So
yeah, it is pretty soon, because I've seen the press release stuff for that one. Yeah,
so that's probably the best place to catch it in those kind of forms. But it's definitely, if you've got an Empire Cinema by, then please definitely go and see it, because it is one of those movies, even though it's got a small screen feel to it, it's still got that big screen element. So I think it works in both situations.
Is that why Rob was late? Because he was off watching Predestination? Because that'd be okay.
Yeah, could be down to that. It possibly could be. Cool. Right, that's it for the cinema release sections of this week. We'll be back in a moment. Advert for one of your shows, Stuart.
And yours.
Yeah, I'm involved in the show as well, and we'll be back with a couple of home release films, including one movie that Stuart's actually seen. Well, we'll try to see anyway. Comment on it, won't you?
Yes.
I hope. Here's the ad.
There was a real sense of you were doing something wrong, but that did give it that feeling of excitement.
When the reveal of the film happens, that's when it just becomes absurd.
And the atmosphere and just the sense you get whenever you go into it is undeniable.
It did absolutely zero for me, which could be for the hype.
What we've just discussed there is just scratching the surface on it.
Hi, I'm Eric England, the director of Contracted, and you're listening to From Page to Screen, the horror show.
Right, welcome back to this week's show. You're probably sick of hearing my voice. I'm sick of hearing my voice. When we finish this week's show, I'm going to go on a few days where I don't speak.
Yeah, that'll be the day.
It would just be nice if the three films that we're looking at, Fury, Annabelle and The Haunted House 2, that you'll have seen either one of them, because then I could shut up for 5 minutes.
No, I can talk about, I wanted to see some of them, but I didn't actually manage to see some of them, so I could talk enough so that you can have a bit of a breather.
Yeah, it's just people are probably annoyed at hearing my voice. But we are looking at Fury, Annabelle and the Haunted House and some TV movies of the week as well before we wrap up the show. So let's start things in the home release section as we normally do with the Blu-ray and DVD top 10.
Yes, let me have a look at that one, because you very, very kindly typed these out, I love this show. It's like things get done for me. Number 10, we have Barbie in Princess Power, a film that I've not actually seen, even though I'm a film fan. So have you seen the Barbie movie?
You can probably guess what the answer is to that question.
Yes?
No. God, no, definitely not. Nope. I won't even watch a Tinkerbell movie, so what makes you think I'll watch a Barbie film?
Is that not kind of like DC versus Marvel? Like Barbie versus Tinkerbell, maybe?
Yeah, they're going to merge them together and have a big, massive scuff. Big, massive
Shared
fight.
universe.
I think I'll actually watch that.
I'll watch that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dolls Assemble or something they could call it. Number 9, we have the film that I really, really enjoyed, but you weren't a fan of. Denzel Washington is pretty much like he was in Man on Fire, in The Equalizer.
Why did you enjoy it then?
I just had a lot of fun watching it. It reminded me of John Wick. It reminded me of Jack Reacher. It reminded me of Liam Neeson in Taken, the first one, but with a little bit more character depth. I am a massive fan of the Equalizer TV series, so I was a little bit concerned when I heard they were going to be remaking it, but I really, really enjoyed it. So much so I watched it twice in about 48 hours.
Yeah, you mentioned John Wick there, which is not out in the UK until March. So but we've kindly seen it. We've nicely seen it. The distributors of the film kindly let us see the film a little bit beforehand. So
I didn't. I imported an American DVD. So I'm
really, you went that far?
Oh yes.
Well, but yeah, The Equalizer. Me and Andrew completely agreed on the film. We hated it. We thought it was awful. I liked the first 15 minutes with the Chloe Grace Moretz character and how he was involved in that, and I thought that's the way the movie should have gone. It would have been much more tenser. It would have been much more darker, rather than it turning out to be more like an Itchy and Scratchy cartoon.
Yeah.
Because that's what it felt like.
Well, let's shift on to number 8, which is The Babadook, a film which I have now seen twice, and I did enjoy it more my second time. So, but I know you love The Babadook, so let's hear you chat about that one without coughing.
Yeah, I adored The Babadook. Best horror of 2014. We are on the show next week looking at another horror film, which is the most hyped horror film of this year, which is It Follows, which I can't wait for that. But The Babadook definitely deserved the praise and hype that it got. Jennifer Kent directorial debut with it. It's just brilliantly directed. It's more about the mother-son relationship rather than the evil dark presence of the Babadook. The Babadook is sort of like the apparition of their destructive relationship, and so that's what the Babadook represents, in my opinion. If you treat the movie like that and not the typical quiet bang kind of film, then that's where you'll find all the turmoil with the movie. That's where you find all the darkness with the movie. Also, the look and style of the movie. All the colour is being zapped out of it. You've got little hints of the colour here and there through the film, but the main palette is very muted greys and muted tones, and it suits the movie by adding a sort of like a very cold atmosphere to it. And if you feel cold, you always feel the hairs on your arms stand on end, or you feel the goosebumps. And that's what this movie does. It gives you goosebumps rather than it being about, let's have a Jack in the Box pop out and do a scare that way.
And talking about sort of creepy films, creepy women as well. Number 7, Gone Girl, directed by David Fincher, starring Rosamund or whatever?
Rosamund.
Miss Pike, let's call her Miss Pike, and Ben Affleck, aka Batman. What do you think of Gone Girl?
It's really good up until the last 20 minutes, and I think the last 20 minutes it needs to be cut out because it's just pointless there in the film. Your opinion?
It is a film that is very, very easy to ruin with spoilers, I think. I was very, very well protected from spoilers by my own judgment. But it's one of those, if you go and you could talk about plot points, you can kind of derail the viewing experience. So do try and watch it cold if you get there.
Yeah.
Number 6, The Book of Life. I don't even know what that's about.
I'm just looking at Rob's comment there regarding the Equalizer in the live chat, and he says, but that pretty much sums up it's regarding what Andrew's point there, but that pretty much sums up Edward Wood. Edward Wood version was Mr. OCD. But I think it's just Andy and Rob having a conversation regarding it because Andy thought his character was very OCD, etc. in the film. So,
he was. Yeah, definitely.
The Book of Life, it's produced by Guillermo del Toro. Mm-hmm. It's an animated film that's animated marionettes, and it centers around the Book of the Dead, in the Mexican Book of the Dead. So it's all about the good versus the evil in a way, the world of the remembered and the world of the forgotten. When you pass away, you either go to the world of the remembered, whereas if somebody remembers you, that's where you'll go and everything's all colourful and happy and joyful. Or when you die, you go to the world of the forgotten, where nobody can remember you at all, and that's where everything is dank and really bad. You've got the two people who run those two areas, and they bet on these two humans, whether they're going to get to the hand of this girl. And they have a fight, and obviously nefarious plots unravel and stuff. I loved it. The Book of Life is a fantastic animated film. It has lots of Del Toro's touches to it. If you like Del Toro's movies, there are lots of these little nuances running straight through the movie. It's very witty, it's very humorous, it's very dark. It doesn't treat kids like kids. It treats kids like properly, because it's touching on subjects like death and darkness and stuff like that and loss. So it's a really tough subjects to touch on, but it's handled in Del Toro's brilliant fashion as a producer. Definitely worth seeing.
Now, how do you feel about The Maze Runner? My question to you on this one, which is number 5, would be where does it compare to things like Divergent, Twilight, unfortunately, and Hunger Games, the other young adult ones?
It's not as good as Twilight. Not Twilight?
Whoa, that's a soundbite. That's a soundbite.
It's not as good as the Hunger Games. And it's not as good as Divergent. But it's still passable. It's still enjoyable. I'm going to hate myself now for saying it's not as good as Twilight.
Yep. The chat room will just be erupting with people going, ha ha ha, you said it's not as good as Twilight.
Yeah, it's Twilight is miles worse. Worse is not even a word, but it's miles worse than the Maze Runner. The Maze Runner is entertaining. It's got its own ideas. It's got its own world. It tries to be more like Lord of the Flies rather than Hunger Games or Divergent, because of the fact that it is, I think, the film itself is more closed in than Divergent is, than the Hunger Games is, because with the Hunger Games you've got the Hunger Games section. That's the closed in part. With Divergent as well, it expands on itself. With the Maze Runner, it's all about this maze. Them scared of running through the maze, but ultimately the only way they're going to get out of it is to try and run the maze, and it's the maze that gets them. But it's got its plus points. Have you seen it?
I haven't yet. It's on my list of films that I really want to watch, because as much as I don't like Twilight, I am a fan of a lot of the other young adult movie adaptations.
Yeah, you should watch it. You'll enjoy it.
Fantastic. At number 4, a title that makes no sense, Dracula Untold, because it's a film, so therefore we are told. What's your thoughts on Dracula Untold? Dracula being the new action hero ready for the shared universe that Universal are trying to create.
Well, firstly, this isn't part of that, because the first film, because they have it turned around and said it's not part of that at all. The first film, part of that, is Frankenstein, which is out at the end of this year with Daniel Radcliffe in it.
Oh, okay.
So it's Daniel Radcliffe's Frankenstein, which early murmurings are saying that this movie is something special. So let's hope that it is true. But yeah, it was originally thought that Dracula Untold was the kickoff of the Universal monster movie mashups. And then they turned around and went, no.
Is that because it got kind of critically hammered in places? Well, and they're like, actually, it's not really part of it.
They thought, critics thought it was fine, and I thought it was fine as well. It's got its cheesiness to it, but it's fine for what it is. There's nothing any special, and it's not an untold story of Dracula, because everything in this film we already knew anyway from the umpteen Dracula movies. But it's not as bad as a lot of people expected it to be. It's entertaining, and it passes its time away. I don't know if you've seen it or not.
I haven't. Nope, I was put off by some reviews, and it sort of slid down the pile of films to watch. I've got no shortage of movies to watch. It's crazy sometimes.
Yeah.
Number 3, number 2 even. Number 3, actually. This is a film I've never even heard of, so I'm guessing it's a short film. Toy Story, the one that time forgot, or whatever. Where's that come from? What's all that about?
Toy Story That Time Forgot.
Yes.
It's a weird way to actually construct the name of it, because it's supposed to run into each other. Toy Story That Time Forgot. But it's one of the short Toy Story films, because I think they're a bit too scared to make a Toy Story 4. So they made a couple of films. They made one Halloween, one 2 years ago. Well, last year, not 2014, the year before that. The film itself was released on DVD in March, which is a very strange release to release a Halloween film in March. Yep. But this film here is, I think it's down to the fact that Sky have got the rights to it, and Sky have got the rights to it for a set period of time before the film itself can be shown. Released on Blu-ray and DVD, because they showed it back in November of 2014, and so they've got a set period of time, exclusive rights to it. I've not seen it. This is one of the. I saw the Halloween one that they did, which was fantastic, but I've not seen Toy Story That Time Forgot.
So your hopes, are they quite high for this one, do you think? Or?
Yeah, because I love the Toy Story series, and so I will watch it. It's a very short one. It's only on for about 20-25 minutes. So I'll treat it more like if Toy Story was turned into a TV series. That's the way you should treat it.
Yeah.
Because it is just making people sort of like... the worst thing you can say about these ones is it's making people want a fourth film, and I don't know if they've got plans of making a Toy Story 4.
I did hear, this is probably about 6 months ago, that they did have plans to make Toy Story 4, but then everything went quiet and everything became Star Warsy over at the House of Mouse. So who knows?
Yeah.
Number 2, TMNT, or Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, starring Megan Fox. The latest adaptation of this thing. It's in my other room to watch at some point. What's your thoughts on the new Turtles movie?
Produced by Michael Bay, not directed.
No.
Directed by Jonathan Liebesman, who B has actually worked with him before.
Have we got any Xboxes in this one?
No.
Oh.
But yeah, B has worked with Liebesman before on the Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake. Not the Texas Chainsaw Massacre at the beginning, it was just the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, which I actually quite liked. It's grimy and gruesome and gory and nasty, and it doesn't relate that much to the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre. But I quite liked it because I thought Jonathan Liebesman handled it quite well. A lot of people give it slack, but I actually quite liked that, and I actually quite liked Texas Chainsaw Massacre at the beginning as well. I hated Texas Chainsaw. That was a really bad film, Texas Chainsaw 3D. But Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, I've seen it twice, and it's not as bad as people make it out to be. But it is still pretty bad, to be honest. It's got a nice set piece set in the snowy mountains. It's very much like the G.I. Joe, the second film.
Oh no!
Where you've got that set piece in the mountains, which is very well choreographed, and it's the same with this one. It's just there's nothing different with the Turtles. They're just more moronic, to be honest. And Shredder, he looks like he's had a fight with a blender, and Edward Scissorhands has been thrown in there with Freddy Krueger and just being beefed up. And it's ridiculous, very well over the top.
And are we going to get a sequel to that?
Yes, there is a sequel coming.
But you can't wait. Is Michael Bay back on board producing it?
Don't know, unknown. But there is a sequel coming. They actually announced the sequel just before the first one was going to be released.
Wow. Well, hopefully we'll come back and produce the second one. We get some Xboxes in that one, so that'll do. Number 1, this is something you haven't actually seen, and every time we do a podcast, I'm always like, why don't you watch it? Game of Thrones. This is season 4 on DVD and Blu-ray. Game of Thrones is awesome. There's so many characters in that TV show. I can't remember the names of half of them, but so what? You just latch onto the ones you like. Season 4 carries on the whole game, the political backstabbing and griminess and whatnot. And to go into some of the plot things, I would get killed because it's very, very spoiler heavy. But there are some amazing things going on in season 4. Season 5 airs pretty soon, but not soon enough. So, and a shout out to my friend Joe Alton, who is actually one of the Night's Watch in season 4. So, hi Joe.
Yeah, we don't normally talk about TV programs on the show, but it was nice just to get a take on a TV show, because I stopped watching Game of Thrones after season 2. I think the last episode I watched was the first episode that Neil Marshall directed.
Yeah, so he directed the penultimate episode of season 4 as well, and it's amazing. I think it was the second to last one anyway.
Yeah,
Very good.
I've not seen a single episode after the Neil Marshall. I think he directed sort of like the 3rd or 4th episode to the end of season 2.
Do you think you'd go back to watching that show, or are you just done with it and you think it's just not my thing?
The problem is I've heard so much about it. I'm sick of it. It's like The Walking Dead. I hear so much talk about it that I just cannot be bothered with it. If it was a program where I've heard a few people go, I need to watch it, like Banshee. I watched the first episode of that and I thought, actually, this is not bad. I might get into this. I've yet to watch another episode after that, to be honest. The same with, I need to watch Hannibal. I need to watch season 2 of Hannibal before season 3 kicks off, but I've got a little bit of time before that happens. But yeah, with Game of Thrones, I just have no intention. I have no intention of going back to it.
I'm right with you with The Walking Dead, though. I mean, I enjoy The Walking Dead, and I'm up to date with The Walking Dead. But if that show got cancelled tomorrow, I wouldn't lose any sleep over it. However, with Game of Thrones, I am pretty much invested in that, and it's very good.
Yes, is there another TV series that's the same with you, where you would feel really horrible if it ended?
There was. I mean, I was gutted when 24 ended. I think if I heard that 24 was never going to come back, I would be pretty sad about that one. Sons of Anarchy, that's finished now. I was quite sad when that ended. But currently, there's not much I watch. Hannibal, I'm waiting for the new season. Bates Motel, I'm waiting for the new season. So there's nothing running at the minute that I would be gutted if it ended, because most of them have already ended.
The only one I watch is Penny Dreadful, and I cannot wait for season 2 of Penny Dreadful. So, Penny Dreadful and American Horror Story. That's it for me, TV-wise. But we're not a TV show anyway.
No, movie show.
We review films, yeah. We review films. So, in the home release section, we have 3 films, and the first one is Fury, directed by David Ayer, who did a few... He's sort of like the new Michael Mann of sorts, David Ayer. He's more known for his gritty films. And so...
Didn't he do like End of Watch?
That's
him,
he did
wasn't
End
it?
of Watch.
Yeah, that was good.
So I really liked End of Watch. I thought it was a really good film. And then he did Sabotage, which is terrible.
I love Sabotage.
We
fell out over that one as well.
Yeah, it's a terrible, terrible film. So Fury, like I said, it's directed by David Ayer. It stars Brad Pitt, who plays War Daddy, or Don War Daddy Collier in the movie. And it's set during 1945, during World War II, in Europe. Like I said, Brad Pitt, he plays a sergeant of a group of people. He commands this group. A new person has been brought on board, played by Logan Lerman, who plays Norman Ellison. He's sort of like... As a matter of fact, this film is riddled with stereotypical characters, because Brad Pitt's character is high-up sergeant who is very tough on his men, but he thinks that what he's doing is right. And then you've got Shia LaBeouf, who plays a character who's sort of like a Bible character. He's obsessed with Jesus. He's very religious. Then you've got Michael Peña's character, who is over the top. He is sort of like the guy who's there for the Spanish influence in it, the guy with the strange accent. And you've got the other actor who I can't remember because Jay Baruchel, I think. John Baruchel, Jay Baruchel. He was in The Walking Dead in the first series.
Oh, there's so many people been in The Walking Dead. I think every actor's been in The Walking Dead by now. I'm due to be in it next week. Not really, but could be.
Well, you've got another character who is the sort of like the loose cannon, the character who just flies off the handle, and so you can just imagine what kind of movie we're going to get here when you mix them all together. Especially they have to keep each other's company in a tank, because it is just about Brad Pitt's character trying to command this the group of people and stopping off into little situations where war-torn, you're in Germany, they stop off at a town where they meet with a few German people and there's a really bad situation involving some dinner, and then the tank breaks down in one area and they have to try and fend for themselves. So it's just a very stereotypical kind of film. Here's a clip which sort of gives you a feel of the movie.
Radio's 86. We're on our own. Good shot.
Oh, that wasn't me. No, I'm the instrument, not the hand.
God didn't call us today. You hear me, boys? What's he doing up there? Big paradise. Everyone else came up, snake eyes, but us. Lord's protection. We got it, don't we, boy? Yes, sir. We got it. Sir. Norm mowed them down, didn't he, too? Hey, good job, Norm. Welcome to the Army, Norm. You did good. Oh! Best job ever. Best job ever. Best job ever. Best job ever.
As Andrew's pointed in the live chat there, it's John Bernthal who's in that. He was in The Walking Dead, and he plays the loose cannon kind of character. And that's the problem with Fury. It's such a very... I've said this too many times on this week's show, but it's such a very straightforward, down-the-line kind of film, where when it does veer off into the director's doing that territory, the shocking elements of the movie, you just don't care, to be honest. It's okay acted. None of the actors are really annoying in the movie. Each one plays their part quite well. Even Shia LaBeouf is not annoying in the film, because he doesn't have very much to do. That's the problem. He doesn't. The light seems to be shone on Brad Pitt and Logan Lerman in the movie, and it's sort of like understandable. Brad Pitt is the big name in the film, and Logan Lerman is the character who they're trying to train up, and you can predict how the movie's going to flow, how the movie is going to set up. You can predict what happens with Logan Lerman's character during the movie. You can predict how a scene will play out. There is no tension in the film at all. As Andy's just pointed out there, David Ayer is very good at the scenes with the characters in the tank and their interactions, as well as the moments at war with the battle scenes. But as soon as they step out of the tank, it falls apart. I just felt like there was no cohesion with them. So I don't agree with the parts in the tank. I just felt like there was no brotherhood. Considering if you've watched lots of things like Band of Brothers and stuff like that, they were proper. There was a proper brotherly connection there in Band of Brothers. Even in the Pacific as well. Even though I don't think the Pacific is as good as Band of Brothers, there was still a proper brotherhood connection with the characters in them. And in this, that never surfaces. They always seem fractured.
If you want to watch a film that does the Brotherhood and the Band of Brothers stuff really good, around the same time that Fury came out, a British film came out called Allies, which does the brotherly stuff spot on. Doesn't have massive tank battles like apparently Fury has, but that's because it doesn't really have the same sort of budget. But how were the tank battles in Fury? Because it did get really good reviews for that side of things when it was on the big screen.
I found them to be too clean, too scripted, too straight-faced. As a matter of fact, when you see the tank battles take place at night, you see a lot of green and red flares when they're fighting against each other. The enemies, the Germans, fight against this group of people. You sort of like see green and red flare, and it's like watching a Star Wars movie. Like phasers are getting shot off, or lightsabers are getting thrown around. That's what it looked like, and it's too clean. The film itself in those tank battles are just too clean. It uses CGI too much. There is no gritty realism to these battles at all. And if you concentrate on the film, you start to pick apart how silly some of the elements are. Not giving too much away, but there is a scene which involves the tank itself and a lot of SS troopers. That's the last 20-25 minutes of the movie. And if you concentrate a little bit on that bit, you can pick apart how silly that scene is, the last 20 minutes is, because nowhere would have been able to survive as long as they did. So the film itself is... This is the problem with David Ayer. I think his best movie is End of Watch, and that's it. His films have become very boring, to be honest. Sabotage was terrible. This is better than Sabotage, but it just... He was a director who I had high hopes for, but now he's a director who I just don't care for anymore. Unfortunately.
Hopefully he will get his tracks back on, and whatever he's got lined up next will be better. Because you can imagine he's come from something like End of Watch, which wasn't a massive studio film by any means. He then went to Sabotage is an Arnie film, so that's got to have a certain weight carried to it, and then this silly, expensive Fury with Brad Pitt. Hopefully, he'll get back to smaller type films.
Suicide Squad is his next film for Marvel.
Oh, so he's not got back to it with his next one yet. Then maybe the one after that.
Maybe we'll see. Maybe he might. He just might decide to do. Oh, let's have a small little film after I've done Suicide Squad. But I doubt it. I doubt it though. I think he's more comfortable with the kind of films that he's directing, and I think he's just going to fall too much into his comfort zone too, and not branch away, not try something different. Unfortunately.
Oh,
I know. Right, next up, Annabelle. Now, have you seen The Conjuring?
I have seen The Conjuring, and I really, really like The Conjuring.
And what did you think of the Annabelle doll? Because she was just quickly mentioned in The Conjuring near to the end of the film.
Yes. It was quite a surprise when they went, oh, we're going to do a spin-off and blah, blah, blah. And you're like, what? So it's an unusual way to do a sort of spin-off movie, just a doll.
This is the first of the spin-offs from The Conjuring, as a matter of fact. There is
first?
Another two. Yeah, there is another two, and The Conjuring 2, which is out. Well, it's penciled down for 2016, but I don't think the film will get released in 2016. I think it'll be 2017 now. But yeah, there is a Conjuring 2 coming, and then there is another supposedly couple of spin-offs. But I don't know if they'll actually do that now, considering that Annabelle didn't do very well at the box office. Considering the standards that The Conjuring set, it didn't do as good as The Conjuring did at the box office, let's just say. And then this one, it's directed by John R. Leonetti, and it's pretty much starts straight off from The Conjuring. There is a scene which opens Annabelle, which is lifted from The Conjuring, which involves the Annabelle doll, because there is a scene in The Conjuring where you see some video footage by the Warrens, that the Warrens have shot, which The Conjuring is about, of the doll of Annabelle and this group of people who got the Annabelle doll and are causing turmoil with them, and they were trying to get rid of it, and that's how the Warrens got the doll. And this is the opening sequence to Annabelle. And so the doll now has been took back by the Warrens, but for some reason it ends off in this thrift shop, and this woman buys it. Why would you buy that creepy doll Annabelle?
You wouldn't.
Yeah, she buys it because she's got this creepy porcelain doll collection, and she is the last one to finish off her collection. However, something really nasty happens when the couple next door to them end up breaking in and tries to kill them. And so they decide to move out from that house into an apartment, thinking that that's the end of all the evilness that's gone on. Nope, because evil has gone and followed them to their new apartment, and so they have to put up with the evil doll Annabelle and discover what's going on. Here's a clip.
John got rid of her.
Or tried to.
There she was at the bottom of one of our last boxes.
I still don't understand what the doll has to do with this supposed demon.
Demons can sometimes use objects as conduits to achieve their desired goal.
Their desired goal?
Our souls, John.
That's why it's after Leah. It wants her soul.
No. Demons can't just take souls, Mia. A soul needs to be offered to the demon before it can take it.
Well, I don't plan on offering my soul anytime soon.
The devil is the father of lies. Demons are his manipulators. No one ever plans to offer the soul.
How do we get rid of it?
I don't know.
And so the thing with Annabelle is, what the director has tried to do is try to take the tension from The Conjuring and put it in Annabelle, and thinking that it works. And we've seen movies with psychotic dolls. You look at the Chucky series, and that works brilliantly because it gets the darkness and the humour spot on. And in this movie, it's all about a doll that's possessed and the psychopathic tendencies that happen. And the movie itself is just silly. Have you seen the trailer of Annabelle?
I saw it ages ago, probably as research for a horror show last year, but not so much that I can remember the trailer.
And as soon as I mention this, you'll go, oh yes. There's a bit in the trailer itself where Annabelle is in one room, and then the door opens and closes and opens again, and all of a sudden Annabelle's become human, and she bursts through the door.
Yep.
Yeah, that shows you how silly this film is. There's another scene which involves the Annabelle doll in the basement coming up the stairs, and then it's sort of like that blink thing, and then the doll moves forward slightly, and then they blink again, and the doll moves forward slightly more. And it's just stupidly done. It's sort of like a little creeping thing. It becomes like a creeping black woman. Like, if you look at Samara from The Ring, it's like they took Samara and just painted her black and said crawl. And then when the person's not looking, crawl a bit more. And then when they open their eyes, stop.
Is it like one of those ninja cats that you see on YouTube?
Yeah. That's exactly how I described it when I reviewed the film in the cinema section. It's Ninja Cat. It's Ninja Cat, but in human psychopathic doll form. That sums up the film. It does sum up the film. The film itself is not scary. It relies too heavily on the typical trope of being the quiet bang to get it scares, and they don't work. When I went to see it in the screen, and obviously a lot of people who go to see these movies at the cinema now are dumb people, or are the kind of people who don't watch horror movies. So it's just, honestly, it's bad. It's bad in the sense that in this Conjuring standards, but it's not as bad as a few other films that try to be like this. It's just, I wouldn't even watch it. If you like The Conjuring, just don't watch Annabelle, because it'll ruin The Conjuring for you.
Is there anything in Annabelle that they might then do as a spin-off? You know, like the doll was in The Conjuring, so that gets its own movie. Is there like a kettle or whatever in Annabelle that might get its own movie as well, so they could just keep passing the buck?
I hope not. I really honestly do hope that they don't go with another spin-off. I really just hope that they look at it and thought, well, how we handled Annabelle wasn't good enough.
It's like, we tried, we failed.
Yeah, we'll not do a spin-off, we'll just stick with The Conjuring 2.
Yeah.
Final film, Haunted House 2. To say this has got a plot is an understatement, isn't it? These kind of Wayans Brothers movies, and that's brilliant timing, isn't it?
Yes.
Your phone decides to go off.
Yes, is that your phone? It's my phone, isn't it? I'm just going to ignore it. I'm actually burying the phone under a Clint Eastwood DVD box set. It will shut up in a minute. So it's probably Andy saying, "How dare you? You're nicking my show." So there you go. Yeah. He's gone. So thanks, Andy.
He's a guest on the show, yet his phone rings. Yet me and Andrew's never had that problem.
No, that's because nobody phones you guys. Maybe. Yeah, definitely not Andy.
You're not welcome back on the show ever again. No. That's the case. But back to A Haunted House 2, you must have seen these movies which take the mickey out of horror films. So the scary movies, things like that. You must have seen at least one of them.
Oh, I've seen the first two scary movies, and that's what's put me off watching any of these other epic movies, disaster movies, Haunted House 1, and more than likely Haunted House 2.
Yeah, see, the first scary movie is actually a funny film. It's really funny, as a matter of fact. It just, after that one, that's when it just dies. And the problem with this whole series is that they try to think that they're funny, but they're not. And Haunted House 2 has a sort of a storyline. It centers around Marlon Wayne's character, who plays Malcolm, and he's moved in with his girlfriend, who's played by Jamie Priestley Megan. And then silly things happen in the house, scary things supposedly happen in the house. Here's a clip giving you a taste of what it's like.
Ain't you that brother that just moved into old Burton Place?
Yeah, and it's...
With a white woman!
Well, she's not all the way white.
She's a white woman damn near clear!
Come on now, it's 2013. Interracial relationships is not a big deal.
What? You need to tell that to the lonely sister. Hey, look at this one right here. How to show them how you drop it like it's hot. Woo! Hold up, Bertha. Hold up. We ain't got no defibrillator.
I think that's my cue to go. Excuse me, sister. Have a good sermon.
Where you going?
Love is love. Love is love. You're so bitter.
See?
You're angry.
Brothers be tripping. That's why I got me a white man at home.
No, to be honest, I don't want to waste my breath on this movie. It honestly is that bad. I was dragged kicking and screaming to see this at the cinema. I reviewed it kindly for the cinema section of the show when it was out last year. I can't believe I'm having to retread the same ground reviewing it on DVD and Blu-ray. Andrew's escaped a bullet in this one, and so in that case he's going to get the next terrible movie of this kind, because it is awful. It is really... It thinks that it's funny, and that's the problem with these kind of movies. Because when it thinks that it's funny, then you know it's nowhere near as funny as it is. It's not as bad as the last Scary Movie, because the last Scary Movie film was god-awful. This is just awful. It is really terrible. It doesn't even deserve to be watched. It doesn't deserve the breath that I breathe to actually rant on about the movie. It just, all I have to say here is avoid it. Don't even waste your money.
Is it worse than movie 43?
Nothing's worse than movie 43. That is an atrocious movie.
Is Keith Lemon worse than movie 43?
It's on par with. I think I've only ever given. Last year I gave a film a 1. And the only other 2 films that I've ever given a 1 is Keith Lemon the movie and movie 43. So
Wow.
during this show, during the 3.5, nearly 4 years of doing this show, I've only ever given 3 films a 1 out of 10. So I hate giving a film a no, actually, no, sorry. I remember now, movie 43 got a 0.5 out of 10. I've never given a film a 0. I will never give a film a 0. Because even though you think that I'm a bit harsh when it comes to movies, I'm not soulless. I will never give a film a 0. But Mrs. Brown's Boys, and the chat there from Andy, I didn't give it a 1. Mrs. Brown's Boys. So that's surprising. I think I give it a 2, 2.5.
Wow.
So that's. I think I was generous. I think I actually got knocked on the head with a coconut that day.
I think you may well have done.
Yep, but that's it for the new releases of this week, both in the cinema section and the Blu-ray and DVD section. TV movies of the week. Now, I only told you this just before the start of the show, so I didn't give you a chance to have a look around in TV guides to try and find any TV movies of the week. But do you actually watch films, scheduled-wise TV, on TV?
I do indeed. I've started doing it a little bit more, and yes, you didn't give me any notes. I had my headphones on, and I was on, like, chatting to you and everything. Oh, by the way. So I had no time whatsoever. But yeah, I definitely do watch, especially if I've not seen them before, then definitely, yeah. So what we got?
Yeah, I've chosen 2. The first one is Kill List. It's the one that you have seen. It's on Sunday, March the 1st at 11:15 on Film 4, the Ben Wheatley film. No, that's my phone.
Hey, that's 1-1. That's not actually me phoning you, by the way. I would just like to get that out of the way. Although that would have been tempting to get my own back.
But at least your ringtone is nice and straightforward. Mine is just somebody screaming, "Get me the manager."
It is. So it's like you in the cinema, isn't it? Is that you actually screaming in the screening?
No.
Possibly. But yeah, Kill List is fantastic. So anybody who's not seen Kill List, get it watched. What else have you got?
And the other film I've got is Amour. It stars Jean-Louis Trintignant and Emmanuel Riva, and it just centres around an old couple and their life. It's a French film. It's a small little French film. It's just centres around an old couple and how they get about their life. It's brilliant. It is absolutely brilliant. Brilliantly acted by Jean-Louis Trintignant and Emmanuel Riva.
I mean, wasn't this like Oscar nominated or whatever? I'd really love to say last year, but no, my luck, it's probably the year before, and time's just gone too quick. But it was nominated for something, wasn't it?
Yeah, and it won.
Hey, well done.
Yeah, so Amour is a fantastic film. So definitely watch it, and that's on Film 4 on Thursday the 26th at 9:00.
Fantastic. 9:00's not too late, is it, to start watching a film? So
it's a 12 rated film anyway. So well done to Film 4. I love Film 4. Film 4 is the best film channel. And they're brave enough to show subtitle films at 9:00 or during the day.
Yep.
They are really brave at doing that, and I love when they do the Studio Ghibli season or films like that, and they show them in the original form with the subtitles in their original language.
I like it when they do the British seasons because they usually show stuff that I've been trying to track down on DVD for ages, and then they'll show like interviews with like Ben Wheatley or whatever. That's where I saw Kill List for the very first time, was on Film 4.
And A Field in England. That's
yes.
where I saw it, because it was shown on Film 4 in the cinema, on DVD, it was out on streaming all at the same time.
Shown like everywhere, wasn't it, at the same time? Weird
I really
film.
liked A Field in England as well, and so that was a brave thing to do. But that's it for this week's show. Make sure, before I tell you what my movie of the week is, make sure you check out the website mondaymovieshow.co.uk and get us on Twitter at Monday Movie Show. I'm at Cryptic Tadpole, and Stuart, you are...
From Page 2 Screen, that's the number 2, not the word 2.
And your website as well is frompage2screen.com, isn't it?
It is indeed. Yep. Stick From Page to Screen into Google. It'll make your internet explode.
Yeah, and you can catch us on Facebook as well, facebook.com/Monday Movie Show. Email us, mondaymovieshow@yahoo.com. We do check it. Leave us some feedback as well on Spreaker or on iTunes, because we are on iTunes. We're also on Podkicker for Android. So if you've got an Android device, because you can download iTunes podcasts, but you need a separate app, download Podkicker, which is a fantastic podcast app on Android phones, and you can find us on there as well. The show gets put up on there straight away. So just give us your feedback in any places that you can give us feedback. We want it.
Yes, good or bad. There is no feedback not welcome.
Yeah, and my movie of the week is Predestination. If you've got a cinema that's showing it, please seek it out and watch it. It's on iTunes, as Andrew pointed out in the live chat there. I'll just wait for it to come out on Blu-ray and DVD, but I definitely recommend Predestination as movie of the week. So that's it. That's it for this week's show. We got through it. We got through 100 minutes, which is fine. And thank you so much to Stuart for joining us.
You're welcome, and thank you so much to you, Stuart, for asking me.
Yeah, because this is the Stuart. Honestly, at least we didn't actually clash with the Stuart thing, because it could have clashed really badly, couldn't it?
It could have done. I mean, we do really well on the horror show. We generally don't mention anybody else's names, and then Lauren, bless her, she will call you Stu and then call me Stuart. So we've not managed to fall over too many times. So anybody who hasn't checked out the horror show with us and Lauren Rebecca Reed, check it out, because you get to hear the subject that Stu is so passionate about, and that is horror films. So check that out. And I'm on there too.
Yeah, it's like a little side there, isn't it? Just I'm on there too as well.
Yeah.
Because it is my show, so I have to be on there as well.
Well, yeah.
We will be back next week. Well, I will be back next week, and hopefully Andrew will be back next week. He has been in the live chat all night, and so I hope that he is feeling better, and I hope he gets well soon if he's not, and he's on the show next week. If not, I might be calling you again. So I might give you a bit of notice there to maybe watch a couple of films, but hopefully Andrew is back and you don't have to worry with that.
But yeah, get well soon, Andy.
Yep, and so I'll be playing you out with a clip from a movie that's out on the 5th of March, a movie that I'm eagerly waiting for. I have been shot down before about movies that I'm eagerly waiting for, and I'm hoping that this is not going to be the case with the film that I'm going to play you out the clip with. I'm hoping that it turns out to be the excellent film that it looks to be, and that's Chappie. And so until next week, hopefully next Monday, goodbye.
Chappie, if you want to be in the gang, you have to be cool like Daddy. Look how Daddy walks. Gangster. Need to keep it gangster. Yeah, you have to be cool. Don't laugh at being cool. No, it's cool. Even when you pull a gun, you have to be cool like this. Boom! And you try.
No, I can't shoot people.
What?
I can't shoot them. They didn't do anything to me.
How are you going to do the heist with us if you don't shoot people?
I can't do a heist. Heist is a crime. I promised.
Yeah, it's okay. Hey, let's worry about that later, okay? I got this, all right? You. If somebody really disrespects you, you can deal with them without using a gun.
What is it, Daddy?
Real gangsters use this.